Hello, you're watching World Talks on TVP World. My name is Sasha Farbach. Poland's place is in Europe. I will not allow anyone to divide us from our home in the EU. Those are the words of Prime Minister Donald Tusk this past weekend, underscoring the stark contrast with Law and Justice warning of invisible threats from Brussels, Paris, and Berlin. While Law and Justice conjured fears of German and French hegemony and EU overreach, the Civic Coalition presents a united pro-European front. Now, these conventions highlight not only ideological divides, but also strategic battles shaping Poland's future domestically and internationally. And now to talk more about all this, we're joined by Karolina Zbytniewska, Editor-in-Chief, Euractiv Poland. Good to see you back on the program. Welcome.
Good morning.
Karolina, I want to start with just your main takeaway from these two back-to-back conferences. I mean, it's a lot of symbolism. They both happen at the same time. And also those words from the Prime Minister. You have experience with a lot of EU affairs. What do you make of these words, and what does this mean for these two conferences as we move towards an ongoing election season almost?
Yes, we have been living in the times of permanent political electoral campaigns, and we see that saw that also this weekend when actually Civic Coalition actually probably tried to overshadow the Law and Justice's program convention. So we have experienced the ongoing political divide in Poland that is stemming from totally different views on Poland's place in the world and in Europe. For, as you said, Donald Tusk, our place is in Europe, while for peace, it's outside Europe, but within this transatlantic relation and alliance. So there are also two totally divergent conceptions of Polish sovereignty, Polish identity, and Poland's place in the international order. But there is also another part of the outlook on this political divide in Poland. It comes out of the nature of the political process in the times of the social media. So that aim, more than ever, for easy binary ethical divide. So we are good and they are bad, in short. And this conflict is securitized by both sides, as we were listening, for example, to Donald Tusk. So we are good, we speak the truth. They are bad, they lie all the time. And actually, Jarosław Kaczyński was saying exactly the same, but in other words, and looking for different allies and different opponents. So this is the nature of how political process is being organized by parties today, not only in Poland, also outside. We need to define us the good ones and them as the evil ones, so that we construct the feeling and the concept of the threat in the society, the threat that we will defend together in unity. And look, both parties, both leaders are doing exactly the same.
Yeah. So, I mean, when you're listening to that...
I'm sorry for saying that. It sounds a little pessimistic. I realize that.
Well, I mean, but you're giving us your expertise, and I think, I mean, there's something to be said there about a very polarized atmosphere within Poland, but also across Europe, and that's Poland is not alone in that. I do want to ask a little bit more about, especially Mr. Kaczynski, so Law and Justice's main, let's say, éminence grise, if we can call him that, very much known for saying very strong anti-Russian messages, rhetoric that is also anti-German. As you said, this is also very emotional debate and very emotional topics. But also recently, exactly at this conference, he also included not just his attacks on Brussels, but then also Berlin, and then now also Paris, so France being also included in his list. What do you make of that? I mean, that's unusual. And what does that signal about Kaczynski, and does it resonate at all in reality?
So we have known this story of the decadent, rotten West and Western cosmopolitan liberalism. So it's another instance of the same story. And by contrasting Germany and France, as we know, this kind of axis, defining axis of the European integration from its scratch, by contrasting these two countries with the good United States, Jarosław Kaczyński instrumentalizes transatlanticism in order to further divide Europe and also to redefine nationalism that he calls a defensive or armed democracy. So it's also another instance of reinterpretation of the international arena as a siege against Poland, Polish sovereignty, siege in which it is legitimized to concentrate power further and to militarize us further. And in terms of legitimizing concentration of powers that I mentioned, he is offering this presidential model of Polish democracy that he would like to take on from the United States. So what we see in the United States with Donald Trump, especially at the moment.
Mm-hmm. Just tell me also, I mean, let's just say, for argument's sake, that Law and Justice is able to clinch the next election. They find partners likely on the right. Let's say they lead Poland next. I mean, with this kind of rhetoric, I mean, what happens next? I mean, you can't have this kind of messaging and be anti-German, anti-NATO, anti-Brussels. Also, and I was just also curious, how does it square with Karol Nawrocki, a president very much supported by Law and Justice, who has recently been also touring not just the United States, but also has said himself he wants to forge closer relations with Nordic countries, with security apparatuses there. So is this going to be a conflict? I mean, how does Kaczynski view this in your mind of working out practically if, let's say, that party would win?
So, you know, there is this political reality that we live in that makes parties fight for gaining power and then to sustaining power. That's kind of normal because representatives of every party are probably believing that they are the best ones that can bring in the best of orders in the countries. So having that belief, it makes that obvious that we have to win because the others will bring in another type of the regime that will not serve us well. So you're talking about security. However, as I mentioned in the beginning, both sides are very much using these arguments of security. Only Jarosław Kaczyński is seeing Poland's security differently. He interprets the European integration, so also this already discussed axis of France and Germany, as a threat to Poland's sovereignty. He sees the United States as maybe imperfect, as Kaczynski mentioned, but still the best of allies that can guarantee a kind of a new alliance of all these countries spending around 5% of our GDPs on security. So this is a kind of new security mobilized, security-driven alliance that would be built upon what the European integration and being kind of enlarged with the United States as our good uncle and great leader. So at the same time, I don't think that there is a huge, more than choreographic change into the outlook of the Law and Justice on the reality we live in. We are already in the European Union, and he's not talking about leaving it. He's just using it as a very comfortable scapegoat in order to make this us and them divide fuller. But he's not against our membership in the European Union. We are already in NATO. We are already with the United States planning, all the NATO member states, most of the NATO member states, to increase our GDP spending on security. So all that is already happening. He's just using this, introducing new phrases, new words like this armed democracy in order to mobilize the electorate, in order to say us something with evident phrases that securitize all this political conflict further.
Mm-hmm. Okay. It's tough to predict, and we're still some time away from elections, but let's look at the medium term now in politics in Poland. What do you see as major movements or trends now after these two conferences, just briefly before we close?
What I see is I see this as a further step of a civic coalition that is looking up for inspiration in Law and Justice, because Law and Justice is organizing their programmatic congress. Then Civic Coalition is organizing its programmatic congress during the exactly same weekend. So I think that they are going to push forward this binary divide. However, I would advise that Civic Coalition, in order to be seen as an active player in the Polish creation of the future of Poland, I would advise them having their own positive agenda and planning their own congresses and planning their own narratives, their own stories, not mimicking what Law and Justice is doing.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, it looks like it's going to be neck and neck in terms of strategy. We'll see if that changes. But thanks so much for all those insights. Always a pleasure speaking to you there. Karolina Zbytniewska, much appreciated.
Thank you.
And thank you for watching World Talks, but stay tuned. There's much more coming up right here on TVP World, so don't go away.